Onyxia? Ragnaros? Nah, man. The newest Vanilla World of Warcraft villain is none other than Nostalrius themselves.
Pathetic!
Hey everyone, Helk here, back for another Helk's Rant. This is episode 4, and today we're going to talk about Nostalrius. For those of you that don't know, Nostalrius was a Vanilla WoW private server group that was shut down by Blizzard last year with a cease and desist letter. So to give you a little bit of the timeline, last year Nostalrius shut down their servers. And what then occurred was that enough people had played on Nostalrius and petitioned Blizzard to hear them out about vanilla servers and everything. So Blizzard actually did that, which is really unheard of for any sort of large developer to hear out just a fan group and actually bring them in and talk about the idea of Vanilla World of Warcraft. Now, after all was done, BlizzCon rolled around, and Blizzard did not announce anything regarding vanilla servers. And when questioned about it, they basically said, yeah, it's still, we're still talking about it, but as of right now, we don't really have the plans to implement it. So Nostalrius then said, okay, well, they haven't listened to us, so what we're going to do is we're going to make our source code available to other private servers, which is a great idea. You want your legacy to live on, give it to other developers and have them push it out. And the first one that they had mentioned was Elysium. Elysium is a World of Warcraft private server, and so they teamed up with Nostalrius for the code, and even to bring over some of the old Nostalrius characters, so some of the old player characters that were available on the database over to the Elysium servers. Now, as somebody who was trying to get in on day one of the server opening up, I couldn't get on for a few days. And it was really intense, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to wait a while for this. So, in the meantime, in the past week or so, what happened was that Nostalrius kind of did a 180, so to speak, basically stating that this was counterproductive to the vanilla World of Warcraft community, that they didn't want to be seen as pirates. They wanted to have true legacy from Blizzard. Now, that's all well and good, except you didn't want that. That wasn't the message you walked forward with. Here's the thing. If Nostalrius had gone, they didn't listen to us, we're going to continue to lobby them, we'll continue to try to work with Blizzard, that's fine. The other vanilla groups could continue to exist no matter what, using whatever code they already had. Meanwhile, whereas Nostalrius could be fighting for actual, legacy servers from Blizzard. The problem with suddenly doing a 180 is that it makes everything you did seem disingenuous. They said that, only 10% of characters from Nostalrius had been brought over to Elysium, so it really didn't show the amount of numbers that they wanted. Well, over 30,000 people were trying to get on that server at once, whereas, most World of Warcraft servers top out around 6,000. That's a heavy server. So it's kind of a joke for Nostalrius to suddenly do this 180, and people are like, oh, don't judge them, if you had a lawyer, if you had Blizzard's lawyers coming after you. Here's the thing, okay? I'm going to compare this to something I know of quite well. Okay, so I live in the United States, and what we have are, we have gun laws and everything, and we have guns, though. The right to bear arms is a fundamental right in the Constitution. Whether we want to argue, what that entails, it exists. So we accept that. Now, there are a series of different firearm manufacturers around the country. So what basically Nostalrius would be claiming if a lawyer was going after them from Blizzard is that, hey, you gave this code that you developed all on your own, and you gave it to another group, and so you're liable for those servers. And no, you could easily get out of that. You could say, no, I wrote something, and somebody else used it, and what they used it for is their own damn business. Nostalrius wants to act like they're up in an ivory tower, while the private servers that are actually allowing people to play vanilla WoW continue to exist, continue to work with players and everything, and continue to get a lot of support from the vanilla WoW community. Now, I'm not a tremendous vanilla WoW player. I've played both vanilla and modern World of Warcraft. I've been playing World of Warcraft since it originally came out. Taking breaks in between here and there. And there is something to be said for playing a game when it was brand new, and playing a game when you weren't being when your hand wasn't being held and everything. It was fun. And what Blizzard has, and if Blizzard's coming after Nostalrius, fine. But at the same time, be transparent about what's happening. Don't act like, oh, well, this isn't helping our cause. Because what they said is that it isn't really helping our cause. And that's, okay, so your cause is to get legacy servers from Blizzard. And you decided to go against Blizzard again, but then you turn around and go, oh, actually, this isn't going to help. Well, when you open up the bottle and the genie flies out, it's very hard to put it back in the bottle. You did this, Nostalrius. This is on you. And that's the way you want to go forward. And Elysium is in the middle of having to deal with you suddenly going, actually, no, we don't want to do this anymore. And that's unfair to them. You weren't very apologetic to them in your post, and Elysium is having to deal with the fallout from this. And so are the players. I mean, there were people who had your back, and what you did was take all of that gold that you got from people, all of that goodwill and that faith, and that's gone. You can't earn that back. I'm I'm a father of 3 right now, and if you listen to any of the older if you listen to the second episode of Helk's Rant, you'll know that, being a father of 3, I have an 8-year-old who constantly, tries to circumvent. And every time she lies to me, I tell her, I go, every time you lie, it gets harder to believe what you're saying. And when we catch you in it, it makes us wonder what you're thinking. And that's what we're kind of catching Nostalrius in right now. They're my 8-year-old basically, acting like they're smarter than us, but they really aren't. And it's kind of hilarious to see what they're doing. I think that Nostalrius is going to kind of fold in on itself, unfortunately, because they were kind of the voices that were needed to try to petition a developer like Blizzard to bring back a legacy style of a game. But, I mean, what are you going to do now? It is what it is, and they took good faith, and they wasted it, and this is where we are now, unfortunately. And shame on you, Nostalrius. I mean, I wag the finger, I look down on you disdainfully. You think you're in an ivory tower. Everybody is above you. When you pull a stunt like that, that's trash, and you deserve whatever you get out of this, whether it's people, turning their backs on you, or just you losing this fight with Blizzard, which may be exactly what Blizzard wanted you to do. Can you imagine if this was a grand scam for Blizzard to not, to turn this vanilla community on itself and try to, get it out of the way like that, or to, get the loudest voice, petitioning for official legacy servers by doing this. It's they'd be much more cunning than me if they actually made that happen. So I don't know. This is one of the funnier instances of this entire situation. I can't believe that Nostalrius would do that to its community and everything. you called them pirates. This is feeling more like being pirates rather than 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 fighters for this. And it's like, well, a lot of people were considered pirates, and Sir Francis Drake was a pirate, but he eventually was under the good graces of the Queen. So you kind of messed this one up, and nobody feels bad for you, and you're gonna go away. So unfortunately, sorry, Nostalrius. That's it. Hey, if you guys like this one, this isn't really a Final Fantasy one, but this is a video game one in general, and it's touching on a hot topic right now. So wanted to really get this out there, get your reactions, and because World of Warcraft is pretty near and dear to my heart. If you play Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 14 owes a lot to World of Warcraft. So understand where your roots come from. You follow me on Twitch, get me on Twitter, join the community on Facebook. You can even email me, whatever, I don't care. Do whatever you want, because honestly, I just love making these podcasts and talking to you guys, and occasionally streaming. But until next time, take care.